Hello, welcome to InSight. I'm Wendy Brokaw. My guest today is Raaga Mandala, Oregon's 2020 Kid Governor, who at the end of her term created a video of her experience called The Journey of a Changemaker. In it, she describes herself: music in her name, dance in her soul, abacus math on her mind, and India in her heart. Oh, and oh yes, as the video showed, a political analyst since the age of 4. I've been intrigued by the Kid Governor program, and I am now following it. My first interview on InSight here was with Tanish Garg, Oregon's 2021 Kid Governor, who told me that 5th graders are being heard and are making it clear they can come up with ways to help solve community issues. The Kid Governor program is a free, award-winning in-class civics program created by the Connecticut Democracy Center. It teaches 5th graders about state government, elections, and the importance of civics engagement through a real-life election that's timed to coincide with the election day in November. What's it like to be a kid governor? Can they be, as Raaga says, a change maker? Well, she's here to answer that question. Welcome to InSight, Raaga.
Thank you.
I love your description of yourself. That's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. There you are, doing things since then. Mm-hmm. Tell us.
Yeah, well, my name is Raaga. Right now I'm a 10th grader at Westview High School, but 5 years ago I was Oregon's Kid Governor, and ever since then I've just been working towards making a difference in my community, helping the homeless out one step at a time. And yeah, over the past 5-6 years, I've raised almost $30,000 for various causes, mostly homeless shelters, and I just think it's a really gratifying experience.
How did you get involved with the whole idea of fundraising?
So fundraising, actually, in 2018, it was Mother's Day, and my mom wasn't feeling too good, so I went downstairs and made her a dosa breakfast, which is an Indian crepe, basically, and I brought it to her, and she was super happy to see me cooking, and I was really inspired by her reaction, because, you know, as a kid, you always want to see your mom and your parents smiling.
What mother wouldn't appreciate that?
Yeah.
So how do you get involved with fundraising from that point?
Yeah, so after that point where I was making food, I'd started cooking a lot, and then this is kind of on a different side, but on the homeless side, I always used to be super scared of the homeless. When I saw them on the streets, I'd hide behind my mom. And then later in 2018, I got the opportunity to go to a homeless shelter and help pack food for them. And that really changed my perspective on homeless people in general. And since then, the topic of homelessness has been something, or had been something I was interested in. And so I combined my passion for cooking as well as homelessness and put it together, and I thought fundraising was a great way to make an impact. And I did it once, saw the impact it had, whether big or small amount of money, it didn't matter. Just when you give to someone, there's such a gratifying feeling that you get after that, and I just stuck with that and kept going with fundraising.
And you now have Raaga's Fun Kitchen.
Yeah.
What is that?
So that along the lines of when I started cooking after the Mother's Day thing. I originally started Raaga's Fun Kitchen as a way to kind of document what I was doing for my family and relatives in India. And it was just kind of a fun thing I did for my 10 subscribers that I had on that channel. And then after that, I just started posting more. And then when I became Kid Governor, I combined, like I said, the fundraising, the cooking, the whole homelessness topic in general together, and started spreading awareness on my YouTube channel as well.
How did you get inspired to look into the Kid Governor program in Oregon?
Yeah, so I actually, up until 2019, basically the year before I ran, I had no clue what the Kid Governor program was. One day my mom actually, she was in the car, and on the radio she heard them announcing Erica, which was she was 2019's Kid Governor. So they were announcing her as the winner, and she was like, okay, this sounds like a really great thing for Raaga to do as well, because at that point I'd done the cooking and I'd already done a few fundraisers. So it was like we were in the right place at the right time, and I was about to go into 5th grade. So it was the perfect opportunity for me to extend what I'd started. And yeah, that's when I campaigned for Kid Governor.
You have to do it through the program itself. Did you have to have any interaction with your school?
Yeah, so the Kid Governor program was a really new thing to my school district, and pretty much, well, me too, because I didn't know what it was until my mom introduced it to me. And so we kind of had to talk to the principals, send emails out telling them about this program so that we could get my school registered to actually participate and vote. And so right now, since the word is spread about Kid Governor in a lot of places, their teachers and schools kind of help them and support them through the campaigning process. But it was kind of more of an independent thing for me at that time because no one really knew what it was. But in the end, my class did get to vote on the video, so we did fulfill the goal in the end. Yeah.
Well, now, when they run, let's just talk about the candidates. Let's just say there are students running for that particular office. They don't all come from the same school. They could come from anywhere around the state. And for the 2020 Kid Governor election, there were, what, 7 candidates? Yeah. I'm looking at what they had to do. They had to run on something called a community issue. What was that?
Yeah, so for me, as I said, it was homelessness, the issue that I was passionate about. And I'm sure, or I knew that everyone around me, there's always something that they're really passionate about or that they're really interested in. And so the Kid Governor program was a way for them to kind of expand that. So these 5th graders got to choose an issue that they wanted to. So there was some about bullying, there was like spreading the word about pollution and other things like that, or in the ocean, Akshara was one of them. There was plastic bag pollution, and she was spreading the word about that. So there's many things like that where the 5th graders are interested in, right? And so that's what they had to choose. So they had to do that, find the issue, and then they created a 3-point plan, how they would attack their issue and try to make a difference in their community. So that's kind of what the video is based off of, and then you kind of share your leadership qualities and why you think you should be Kid Governor. That's kind of what you had to do.
Well, why don't we take a look at the video that you created?
Yeah, sounds good.
Hi, my name is Raaga. I'm running for Oregon Kid Governor because I want to help all of Oregon's homeless population transition into permanent housing. I think I make a good Kid Governor because I'm compassionate, responsible, and have excellent communication skills. I'm the teaching assistant for my 5th grade class. I lead class meetings and help my teacher with clerical work. I'm also the tutor at a local language school where I help young children learn my native language. I've proven my leadership abilities by initiating Raaga's Fun Kitchen, or RFK, where I've been hosting fundraisers with my cooking and raised over $2,000 for a local homeless shelter. Did you know that Oregon is in the top 10 for the most homeless population in the entire country? 14,000 Oregonians are homeless. Can you imagine sleeping on the streets through the harsh winter months, not having access to showers or basic hygiene? Like most people, I used to be scared of the homeless. I'd hide behind my mom whenever I spotted them on the streets. My perspective changed completely after I went to volunteer at a shelter where I helped cook and serve food. I realized that the homeless are not harmful, but they're just normal people going through difficult times. I believe that nobody deserves to live on the streets, so I made it my mission to end homelessness. You can join me on this mission with my 3L plan. The first L is to learn about homelessness. We will accomplish this by introducing homelessness as a social studies topic for 5th grade. We will also have the outreach coordinators from the shelters visit our schools and share information to create awareness. The second L is to spread our love. We will do this by creating kindness clubs. Through these clubs, we will organize fundraisers and clothes and supply drives at school. We will go for field trips to the Oregon Food Bank, to local shelters, and volunteer. Doing such volunteering work will also help students improve their public speaking and leadership skills. And most importantly, we will spread our love by greeting the homeless with a kind, non-judgmental smile to show that we care. The third L is to write to our legislators and make our voices heard. We will urge them to make the laws that would help end homelessness, like affordable homes, mobile health care vans, and employment for the disabled. We're never too young to give back to our community. I'm doing my bit to end homelessness with my fundraising efforts. With my 3L plan, we all can do our bit too. Together we can bring those 14,000 Oregonians off the streets and into permanent homes. Learn, love, legislate. Vote for Raaga for Oregon Kid Governor. Thank you.
Wow. Hey, how does that video hold up in your mind looking at it now?
I don't know, looking at it now, I was so young, but at the same time, it kind of feels like it was yesterday. I remember sitting there feeling nervous about what I was gonna say, like, oh, in my head, obviously everyone was like, oh, is this gonna come off well? Are they gonna understand what I'm trying to say? But now looking at it, I was like, oh, that little girl, look at where she's at now, and it's just
Did you
really
have
nice
to storyboard it yourself and all of that? I mean, we talk
Yeah.
about how are you going to present that? Was that hard?
Well, as I was 10 years old, I had a lot of help from my mom, my parents. They helped me, they grounded me. They're like, okay, so since you want to get your point across, let's organize your thoughts and not just talk right at the camera. Yeah, and so we shot a few clips in my classroom. I was the teacher's assistant in 5th grade, so I used that as a thing for me. So we took some videos of that, and yeah, we just put it together with my 3-point plan, and I'm just glad I had my parents to help me with it.
Tell us a little bit more about your 3-point plan.
Yeah, so my 3-point plan was learn, love, legislate, 3 L's. And so it kind of covered all ground on the homelessness topic. So learn was obviously spreading awareness about homelessness, because although everyone is like, oh yeah, I know that there are homeless people, nobody understands really to the extent that at which it goes. Like, I remember the statistic, I think it was about 14,000 homeless people in Oregon. And that number really just stuck with me. And so I just knew that we had to spread awareness about it, whether through schools or through videos on my YouTube channel. We just had to get the word out about it. And then love was, I had this idea to do kindness clubs. So at school we would get together, discuss about ways we can show that the homeless people that we care about them, because they're people too. They deserve love just as much as we do. And so unfortunately I wasn't able to do that as it was COVID time, but that was one of my love aspects. And then the legislate part was being able to tell the legislators that we as 5th graders have ideas and opinions about things that should be changed in our community. And so I wrote to a few legislators, and I was going to have like an outline of what 5th graders should write to legislators about issues that they'd want to talk about. And so I got to meet with a few of them, and yeah, that was the legislate part of it.
What were some of the ideas you 5th graders came up with?
Yeah, so unfortunately, like I said, COVID-19 was a really big impact, that had a big impact on what I was able to do during my term. But I was able to, this is kind of unrelated to the 5th graders, but what I was able to do in the legislate aspect of it was there was a bill that was put out. I can't remember it exactly, but there was a bill where I was able to do a testimony and talk about my opinion. I wrote like a little paper about it, and I was able to share with these lawmakers, and it was such a great experience. I was 10 years old, and it was just so cool to be able to share my thoughts and opinions about something, and for them to care about what I was saying. So many things like that are what I was hoping to do, was tell 5th graders that they can do things like that. Yeah.
Talk about what matters to them and be heard.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the things I'm wondering about. What kind of impact did your term have?
After I completed my term, I think there was such a great impact on not only me, but the people around me. I'm proud to say that after my term, there was 2 other kid governors from the Beaverton School District, and I teach at a Telugu school, and so many of the parents of my mom's friends and the parents of the kids at that Telugu school were like, oh, Raaga was kid governor, that's so cool. And a lot of people around me have come and told me that they're inspired by what I did as kid governor, and that just really makes me feel good and just gives me a sense of pride, because it's just nice to see that what I did has impact on people and inspires them to do what I did.
One of the great takeaways from what I'm hearing from you is that there's a hunger there to have your ideas heard and then be even given ways to act upon them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that you used your experience with raising funds. You say now you've raised $30,000.
Yeah, almost.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
For different organizations or one?
Yeah, different organizations. So a few of them, or during 2020, there was a homeless shelter called Join Portland. I did a few fundraisers for them. One that it was not a homeless shelter, but we did a lunchbox sale for frontline healthcare workers. So we went and gave them lunchboxes that we made at home. And then there was Transitions Projects, which is another homeless shelter. And yeah, there were a few of them, and it was just great to be able to interact with a bunch of different causes.
Do you have a passion to continue doing more fundraising or enacting perhaps more help for homeless, or both?
Definitely. I actually am. I've just recently started working with an organization called Boys and Girls Aid, who help kids find safe places to be. And they even have a shelter called Safe Place for Youth for when they're in unstable housing and they can come and stay there. And so I've recently started working with them, trying to continue what I started. And I'm a part of Outreach Volunteer now, and so I am planning to go to various schools and talk about the safe place that Boys and Girls Aid has, and pretty much spread the word to those who need it. So yeah, I plan to definitely continue cooking, fundraising, helping the homeless for as long as I can, up until when I'm home from college. I'd love to just continue doing it whenever I can.
You said that abacus math was on your mind. You enjoy math.
I do, yeah.
Do you plan to go anywhere with that in college, or?
So actually right now, if we're talking about currently, I teach at that Abacus Math School, so it's like a full circle moment for me. From 5 years old to around 12, I learned Abacus Math, and then after that, now I'm in the teacher's position where I can talk to young kids and teach them what I learned. So in the future, I'm not sure if I'd go into math per se, but yeah.
What was it about using an abacus that made a difference?
I just think the intricacy of the beads and being able to do math in different ways rather than just doing 2 + 2 and doing carrying over numbers and things like that. I think abacus just makes your mind work in different ways, and that really helped my not only mental math but my comprehension abilities and my abilities to just focus. I think abacus really helped in that way.
Back to the subject of being kid governor.
Yeah.
You had to have a cabinet. Tell us about that.
So my cabinet in general is the people who work with you. So the 7 other finalists, or the 6 other finalists, are supposed to be your cabinet in the Kid Governor program. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to directly connect with them, as it was in a time where everyone was online, there was not really any connection. But nowadays, there's no picking. It's kind of just like the finalists and the Kid Governor work together to discuss issues. It's like you're real adults talking about issues, but it's with people your age, and you get to share what you're passionate about.
10 years old, talking about adult issues.
Yeah.
How good at it did you feel? I mean, what gave you all the confidence to do that?
Yeah, well, the Kid Governor program itself, I think before that, I was working on homelessness and spreading the word, but just having the Kid Governor program as a pedestal to show that kids my age can do things just gave me a huge sense of confidence and made me build connections with other people. And public speaking especially, when you have an audience full of adults listening to what you have to say, it just makes you feel really good and makes you feel powerful. Yeah.
Go on about that. Not only a sense of power, but a sense of the fact that they actually want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I remember I went to a meeting in Salem right before everything shut down, and I got to speak in front of a whole group of adults, and going into it I was really nervous because I was like, are they going to take me seriously? Like, do they really care about what I have to say? And after I did it, they gave me a round of applause, and I was like, wow, they actually listened to me, and they gave me feedback, and they were discussing about like actually seriously talking about how they felt about what I said, and I just think things like that are just really great, especially for young kids.
Have people come up to you and given you ideas that fifth graders could do to raise money or to raise awareness?
Yeah, definitely. I think not only random people, but just my cabinet, or what would have been my cabinet, gave me ideas, because watching their campaign videos, I saw all the different ideas, vast ideas that people could have to do things other than just fundraising and things like that. So I think there's just so many ideas everywhere that can be put together to make something great.
If you could have a way to reach Oregon school districts that don't know about that, is that something that you would consider?
Yeah, I think that spreading awareness to schools all over Oregon is really great and should be done, because not only does it teach the fifth graders about the government in general, but it gives them an opportunity to vote. And, you know, being able to do that at 10 years old is super fun. Like, you see that the election is going on and that your parents are voting, and then you're like, hey, I get to vote at school on the Oregon's Kid Governor.
You also get to hear about their campaigns, what their platforms are.
Yeah.
I went to the Oregon Kid Governor website, and I looked at those people who ran and competed for the office with you. Abigail chose decrease illiteracy in grades K through 5, Akshara, plastic bag pollution, Aurora, save marine life from pollution, Bella, promoting kindness in schools, and kindness is contagious, Ben, helping kids with disabilities, Carl, lack of kindness. These are all things that were hugely important to these kids, and they had to have a 3-point plan for how they would go about spreading the word about them and affecting change. So there you are, a fifth grader was a change maker. And I just think that this is a really important lesson for everybody to learn. When you're 10 years old, you might just actually have interests that you want to share and issues that you care passionately about. What are you going to be doing with your experience? What impact has it had on you?
Yeah, I think the impact that it's had on me is that I can just see the way what I do helps other people, and I just carry that with me whenever I do anything. And I think that'll definitely take not just me but anyone else far, knowing that what you're doing is good for your community and good for other people, not just yourself, is something that we should all think about. And that's what I'm carrying with me when I'm working with Boys and Girls Aid. I'm outreaching, talking to people who might need that help. It's just really great to spread awareness about things, and I hope to continue doing that with them and maybe work with some other organizations as well.
I can't help but wonder, your dancing, your hobbies, give us a little more about you.
Yeah, so I've been into dance since I was pretty much, I can say, an infant. I started dancing when I was 4. I did Bollywood dance. I've dabbled with tap, contemporary hip hop, and then right now I've been doing Indian classical dance for the past almost 10 years. And I recently did a big debut performance. We call it a Raaga Pravesam. And there I was able to work with Boys and Girls Aid once again. Or actually, that was the first time I worked with them. And I was able to hold a fundraiser, because if I'm saying so, during these big performances, they give you gift cards, they give you all sorts of fun trinkets and things. But instead of that, we were able to hold a fundraiser and raise, I think, around $6,000 for Boys and Girls Aid. And it was just so fulfilling, to be able to do what I love on stage, but also raising money for such a great cause. So yeah, I think I've had a continuation with everything, all of my hobbies, from abacus to Telugu language to dance. There's just so many things that have been continued from the Kid Governor program.
And I love the fact that you had a career corner and interviewed a television anchor for the KGW. The weekend program. She seemed absolutely delighted to be interviewed by you.
Yeah, I mean, Career Corner was an opportunity for not only me to learn about different professions going into middle school. I was very curious. I was like, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to be when I'm older? And it helped me, but also it helped spread what these professions are to other kids my age. And one story that stuck out to me was there was an individual, as a child, she was homeless, and then she was able to overcome adversity and become a police officer. She was a sheriff, a deputy sheriff, and her story was super inspiring, and that just made that whole Career Corner segment feel so heartwarming to me.
And there are so many more stories out there.
Definitely.
If you but listen. Well, I can't tell you how much fun this has been for me. I've been looking forward to seeing you, and you drove all the way to Salem to do this. This is wonderful.
And I'd do it again.
Well, that's right. I am keeping up with this program, and I'll be keeping up with you to see what you end up doing with all your experience. Leave us a thought for other fifth graders who you might actually run into or want to talk to about this. And how do you communicate the worth of the Kid Governor program to them?
So if I were to talk to a fifth grader right now, I would tell them that your voice matters. You shouldn't worry about what other people have to think about you, because how you feel about yourself is all that matters. Don't worry about adults judging you for what you have to say. Speak your mind and be confident. That's definitely something that I'm still working on myself, but the Kid Governor program has helped me become so much more confident. And it gives fifth graders an opportunity, like I said, to be put on a pedestal, talk about what they're passionate about, make a difference in their community, and it's just so fulfilling. And
go for it.
The Kid Governor program is something, if you're a fifth grader, you should definitely consider, or if you're a rising fifth grader, the Kid Governor program is something you should definitely think about campaigning for.
Fantastic. Raaga Mandala, it has been a joy having you on InSight today. Oregon's Kid Governor of 2020, during the pandemic, no less. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for joining us today on InSight. I'm Wendy Brokaw. We leave you with memorable moments from Raaga's swearing-in and inaugural speech at the state capitol, and her thoughts 2 years later about the impact of being an Oregon Kid Governor.
Discharge the duties
That I will faithfully discharge the duties
of Oregon's Kid Governor
of Oregon's Kid Governor
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
And I promise to be a leader
And I promise to be a leader
and a good example to my peers.
and a good example to my peers.
Congratulations.
Involved in our communities, we can make a difference. So let's hold our communities together and do our bit to put an end to homelessness. I promise to do my best as Oregon's Kid Governor. I'm so excited to work with Oregon's fifth graders and see my 3-point plan in action. Learn, love, legislate. Thank you.
It was difficult making progress on my campaign promise with schools and government offices shut down. Gradually, I was able to resume doing fundraisers while adhering to the social distancing guidelines. I visited another school online, I met with people remotely via my online initiative Career Corner, and continued being an influencer through my awareness activities and fundraisers despite the pandemic. As of today, I've hosted 15 fundraisers and have raised over $23,000 for various charities, including homeless shelters and schools. More than a dollar value, I'm proud of the lasting connections and friendships I've made in the process. It's cool hearing young kids say that they're inspired by what I do. I owe big time to my family for being the backbone of my work. They stay up late with me, pay for all the ingredients, and handle all the event logistics. And of course, I'm grateful to all my RFK supporters for cheering me on. Not everyone needs to cook like me, and not everyone needs to feel passionate about homelessness either. There are many kids who are making a difference to causes they feel strongly about. some with their art, photography, knitting, or even babysitting and dog sitting. I truly believe that we're never too young to make a change for a cause that we feel passionate about. We just need to educate ourselves, spread kindness to those around us, and influence legislation for the better. That's exactly what I intend to do in the future. Learn, love, legislate. You can do it too.